All right. Hello. This is another episode of Emotionally Uncomfortable. But today it's all about attracting profit. So I'm just pulling something up here. There it is. Okay. So attracting profit is something that the concept of attracting profit is something that I was thinking about probably a few years ago, because a lot of people that I was working with, a lot of women that I was working with were coming to me for personal challenges, right? So whether it was wanting to feel in control of their big emotions, wanting to see and understand their children's behavior on a bigger scale, like parenting or relationships in the home. But they kept saying to me, like, I don't have the time. I don't have the energy and I'm exhausted. I'm all over the place. I can't focus. And so this concept of attracting profit for those that are business women who own businesses, and not everyone that I work with owns a business. But for today's episode, we're talking about attracting profit. But I'm going to share my cold, warm, hot marketing and lead strategy with you. And you're going to want pen and paper for this. You can also go to Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/free links, like FREE links, LINKS. I'm going to give you a visual of what I'm talking about today. So you can find that there of my lead gen strategy and my cold, warm, hot. So if you are somebody who is wanting to attract more profit in the sense of leads, like clients, this episode is for you. All right, let's get into it. So when I'm talking about attracting more profit, to me, that is time flexibility, revenue in the sense of like profitable revenue, and energy. And like I said, when I was working with women and we were primarily working on the personal challenges, what I noticed is those that owned businesses were doing the same thing in their business. And so I want you to think about attracting, right? Yes, it is all about attraction and law of attraction, but it's like, how do we receive this? How do we bring more of this into our life? And profit is extra. As women, we've been taught not to have extra. I just took a sip of water. We've been taught not to have extra. We're just taught just give enough, right? So there's like these big receiving muscle challenges that come out. And so before we even get started and I teach you the actual strategy of client attraction, I want you to reflect on this. So you can journal on it and start thinking about what is my relationship with profit? Do I feel like I have extra time, extra energy? Am I like radiating? Do I feel alive and like I'm thriving? Extra money? And just reflect on it. What is my relationship with profit? How do I feel when I have more? Am I scared when I have extra money? Do I try to busy myself when I have time on the calendar? Do I want to sleep? What do you want to do? And what do you do when you feel emotionally alive? Does that scare you too? Or are you like, is that your comfort zone and you feel really, really good? The reason why I want to bring that up first is because we have to talk about the pink elephants in the room, which is being emotionally uncomfortable. All the work that I do with people is really about helping you get super crystal clear on how you want to feel. But if you want to feel alive and energized, you also have to feel your resistance. So another day for another podcast. Today's all about teaching you the cold, warm, hot strategy. But I do want you to be aware of that because so many people are like, I just need a strategy. I just need a tip. I just need another plan. When in reality, that's not the truth. You need more courage. And you also need to be able to be not able, but willing to feel your fear, feel your resistance, and take action anyways. Okay. So again, go to heatherchauvin.com/free links so you can see the visual of what I'm talking about. So cold, warm, hot. All right. So I want you to think of a bullseye. Okay. You're having 3 circles. The outer circle is cold. This is cold leads. Then the circle gets smaller. Those become warm leads. And the bullseye in the middle, those are hot leads. So on the outside, cold leads, and I'll tell you where to get them at. And I'll also have them, I'll have additional, I think there's up to 16 that I have or so ways that you can attract cold leads. I will put that on the PDF as well. So cold leads, I want you to think about this. You don't know this person. They don't know you, right? So who are you? Cold leads are all about people that have no idea who you are. And there's a million ways that you can do this, okay? So I just want you to think about that. Warm leads is, do I like you? And are we in alignment with our values? I'll give you some examples. And then hot leads are, do I trust you? Or do I trust myself? So cold, warm, hot. Cold, big circle, warm, middle circle, hot, bullseye, baby circle in the middle, okay? I want you to think about something that you have desired to purchase, okay? So let's say you're thinking, I wish there was a product created to help me sleep at night. I'm making this up, okay? We're going to get into psychological factors in another episode of your target audience as well, because that's a whole other conversation. But I want you to think about this. You are on a search, okay, for a product that is going to solve a problem for you. And your clients, your potential clients are actively, right? The money words, the ones that are actively seeking you out, the quality leads, they are Googling, they are like literally trying to solve their problem. They just don't know that you exist. So think about it. When you have a frustration in your life, what do you do when you are trying to solve a problem? Okay. So sleep could be a challenge for you. For my people, a lot of times it's the work-life balance aspect of it. Culturally, we've been taught that you can't solve that problem. Well, I solve that problem for people if they're willing to learn and to grow and they're coachable. But my point of that is people are looking to solve certain problems and they just don't know you exist yet. Okay. So a few of the ways that you can do cold marketing, and I know some of these terms are like yucky, but that's okay. I'm not dressing shit up for you. This is the reality. I try to simplify everything. So cold. Interviews. You can be interviewed on somebody else's podcast. You can do workshops. You can do collaborations. You can attend networking events. You can host meetups and networking as well. There's so many other ways that you can do cold, but none of that requires ads. Okay. So there is a skill that is required in the cold outreach, which is pitching yourself. You have to know how to pitch yourself. You have to know to position yourself in a way that's in alignment with the value add for the other person and also for yourself. So pitching is a skill that we teach inside of our Mastery Business program, but this is so important to understand that most of the time, the reason why people are sabotaging cold outreach is because of the feeling of being seen. Okay. Putting yourself out there, rejection, all those things. So I want you to think outward, cold. You're sitting there. You're like, I either have a problem to solve. How do I try to solve my problems? Or how does my ideal client try to solve their problem? Another example, collaboration. So let's say you are a nutritionist, you are a naturopath, you are a functional medicine practitioner in some capacity. And you were like, we need more clients, right? Well, where do your clients hang out? If someone is in the functional medicine world, they're probably hanging out with other types of practitioners. So that's a perfect opportunity to do some collaboration with other people who have your clients in their world already, right? And then you figure out how to pitch yourself to make it a win-win partnership, and boom, you're like, wow, now we have the steady state of new people understanding that I exist. Notice that I didn't say new clients, new people understanding that I exist. Now we're going to go to the middle circle. So this is the warm circle. Remember, cold is who are you? I don't even know who you are. Warm is do I like you? Okay. Are you speaking my language? This is where we start to develop and build a relationship with people. This is where we start to really show people, like giving free value, that we can actually solve their problem. So some of the tools or ways that people do this is podcasts, like having your own personal podcast, social media, and your email list. So one of the things that I see people get, I call it wrong, but where they make a mistake is when I ask them about their cold, warm, and hot marketing, they're using social media as as one of their only ways of marketing, and they think it's cold, but it's actually not. So people are coming to social media to get to develop a relationship with you. Most social media users are passive consumers. Let me say that again. Most social media users are passive consumers, where a podcast user is more active. So I want you to think about this. This is why most of my clients listen to my podcast first before working with me, because they're developing a relationship. They're really actually actively trying to solve their problems. So they're actively engaged people. So what do those people look like? Well, if you're a podcast listener, I want you to think about why you listen to podcasts. You probably have a growth mindset, right? You're trying to learn a new skill. You're trying to get better in whatever area of your life is. You want to think outside of the box, and you're probably multitasking while you're doing it. Sometimes you might be working, you might be driving, you might be walking, you might be running. You're a proactive person. Think about social media. I can develop a relationship with people on social media, but I actually don't want to spend too much of my personal time there. I'm going to spend more time developing my podcast and pitching myself and, of course, a million other things, and my email list, because social media is almost like a website, right? It's like a live website. So I see so much energy being poured on social media. I don't actually hang out there very often. I hang out more in the podcasting space. And then my team, or when I didn't have a team, I repurpose that content on social media. So what I'm doing in the warm circle is these people are getting to know, like, and trust me, right? They're just like, am I aligned with her message? Yes or no? What happens here is being seen gets even bigger, but this is where judgment can come, right? People are going to be like, I don't like your stuff. And that's okay. They'll either unfollow you or they'll start commenting because they're intrigued by what you have to say. So we have the cold. Who are you? You have to put yourself out there to new audiences, new people. And this is also where I see a lot of people getting tripped up because they're not doing enough of this or any of this at all. And then they wonder why they're not getting new clients. Once you have this, the new cold people, you come to warm. Once you're in warm, this is where you have to spend a lot of your time really starting to understand your ideal clients and the ones that actually want to work with you, not the freebie seekers. You want the people who are like, yes, 100%, I need this. Here's my credit card. So in the warm, this is something I teach inside of my program. It's called Money Words. And this is about the messaging and positioning. But I want you to think about this. Warm, whether it's you have a podcast, whether you do use social media, you have an email list, and I'm sure there's other ways as well. You can use text message, all the things. You're developing a relationship with your community and your audience. So I get really engaged with my people. Like I'll talk to people in my DMs. on my podcast. I mean, I can get better at this, but if you want, you could do this. You can go, I will actually respond to people if they message me. So you can actually go to Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/chat, CHAT. So you can actually send me a message on an app after listening to the podcast. And I'm really engaged with the community. And then email as well. Emails don't just have to be marketing emails all the time. You can give free value, your favorite books, journal prompts for the week. You can ask questions, have them reply to you. And you can also say, hey, I'm opening this program, or click here to book an appointment, or click here to have a call. So think of it this way. The warm is really about connection and building a relationship. Now let's go to the hot. So remember, the hot is the bullseye, and we're only talking about marketing here. I have not talked about sales. So hot is, do I trust you? And do I trust myself? Cold, people are just getting to know you. Warm, now they're coming to your content and consuming your content and developing a relationship with you. Hot is the invitation. I'm going to repeat this again. Hot is the invitation. So many people don't ever actually create invitations to work with you. Okay. Like, they'll put out the content, they're dancing on TikTok, but they're not actually selling anything or directing people. Send me a message, fill out this form, buy my program, get on the wait list, click here to have a conversation. People need to be told what to do. Example, how many times have you been on Instagram or TikTok or something like that, and you really resonate with somebody's content? Like, you're like, wow, I like this person, right? They're warming you up. They're doing the warm very, very well. Maybe you actually heard them. Let me take it one step further. Maybe you've actually heard them on a podcast. Okay. You were listening to somebody else's podcast. They were being interviewed. And so you were like, wow, I like this person. And at the end of the interview, they're like, where can people find you? And you're like, go hang out on Instagram. Go find me on Instagram. Cool. I go find them on Instagram. And I'm like, wow, they have really good tips. They have really good strategies. I find out they have a podcast. I'm listening to their podcast, but they never tell me how to work with me. How to work with them. They never say, go buy my book. They never say, if you are looking for coaching, go fill out this application. Hey, I'm opening 3 spots. DM me here. They never say any of that. Okay. So you can also go from cold to hot in a conversation. So example, let's say you're doing a collaboration with somebody, like an in-person workshop, and those people just get to know you. They're kind of like cold, warm, hot all at once. You can give those invitations, those hot invitations, in the cold as well, right? So you could be in person with somebody and instantly they're like, I like this person. I think I need this person in my life. At the end of that presentation, you say, here's a link to get on my calendar. I've opened up the next few days for 15-minute calls to see if I'm a good, if I can support you in any capacity. And if I can, we'll take it to the next step. Now, that is the cold, warm, hot strategy. There's a million other things that you need to know inside of that. But that's it. Attracting profit is really about understanding how to bring people further away and close to you. Now, in closing, I want to say something. I work primarily with women, and what I notice in myself and women that I work with is you can make a lot of money. You can grow a incredibly revenue generating company. But if you don't feel like you have profit in your life, time flexibility, emotional freedom, and actual financial profit and freedom, like financial freedom, you will eventually feel dead inside. you will become so angry and resentful of your business, and you will want to give up. And so I'm telling you now that a lot of people that I work with, it literally starts with managing your energy. It starts with the inner workings of who you are, how you want to feel. And then we begin to reverse engineer that, not just in your personal life, but also in your professional life. And I know that building a business, like honestly, building a company has been just as challenging as parenting and marriage. And I think on the internet, there's this illusion that it's just rainbows and kitty cats, right? And it's that saying of like, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Because every day when I'm talking to people, and of course doing my own self-reflection work, I think about like, why aren't they getting the result that they want? And it always comes back to self-sabotage. It always comes back to, and I say self-sabotage, but what I mean by that is it comes back to like, how am I getting in my own way? How am I actually causing the block to not receive what I want to attract in my life? Like, how often do you ask yourself these questions? How often do you reflect on, like, where is my responsibility in this? Because when I'm incredibly frustrated in my life, and it could be my health, it could be business, it could be a relationship, and I'm trying to problem solve something, one of the things, you can't just throw money at all your problems. You can throw money to hire people to help you identify your problem and to co-create with your problem, but you cannot outsource your resistance. And what I mean by outsourcing your resistance is you cannot outsource the work that is required of you to do. And so don't get to a point in your business where you're just telling yourself the same thing over and over again of I can't, I got to do it by myself. I don't have enough. You're like so restrictive. That's like the opposite of attracting profit. That's attracting lack, attracting disease, attracting debt. Like that is, your behavior is literally in alignment with how shitty do you want to feel? And then one day when the shit storm happens, you're like, how did I get here? If you're not willing to take responsibility for how you want to feel and reverse engineer that, not just at home, but also in your business, it's going to be beyond burnout. You are going to become so angry, so frustrated, so miserable, and eventually you may physically die, like I almost did when I was diagnosed with a stage 4 cancer, but your soul is going to die. Your mental health is going to die. And you have to learn to feel alive. And ironically, this is so counterintuitive because it's the opposite of what we've been taught, especially as women raising children. Right? We're taught you're supposed to be busy. You're supposed to be chronically overwhelmed. You're supposed to feel like shit. You're supposed to give. So understanding simple strategies for lead generation, not only can it generate incredible wealth in your business, but you're going to be making a bigger impact. That's it. You're going to be making a bigger impact. And when you make a bigger impact, that is how you change the world. Cold, warm, hot. Cold is the big ring. Warm is the middle ring. Hot is the inner ring / bullseye. If you want the visual of what I talked about today, go to heatherchauvin.com/free links. And if you found value in this, one, share it with somebody. I do this stuff for free for you. And two, send me a message. You can hang out with me on Instagram. Send me a DM at Heather Chauvin. I just want to say thank you. I'm here to help you attract more profit, time, energy, and money. So yeah, you can make a bigger impact in the world.